Marcus Aurelius, one of the most influential Roman emperors, is remembered not only for his power but for the way he chose to wield it. Inspired by the principles of Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius dedicated himself to a life of virtue and duty, unlike many of his contemporaries who indulged in the ephemeral pleasures and excesses that his position provided. Rather than seeking pleasure in lavish banquets or sadistic games, he sought wisdom, temperance, and justice, guided by the teachings of philosophers such as Epictetus and Seneca. For Marcus Aurelius, the mission given by life was clear: to serve humanity with justice and wisdom. He understood that, in order to accomplish this mission, it was necessary to focus on what really mattered and put aside futile concerns. One of the pillars of Stoicism, as elucidated by Epictetus in his Enchiridion, is the distinction between what we can control and what is beyond our control. Marcus Aurelius has internalized this lesson deeply, understanding that many of the worries that plague the human mind are actually useless, as we have no control over them. Stoicism teaches that we must accept the reality of our limited influence over the external world. When we allow ourselves to be overwhelmed by these worries, we become slaves to them, giving them a power over us that they don't actually have. This insight was crucial for Marcus Aurelius, who recognized that not being disturbed by external factors allowed him to face the responsibilities of his empire with clarity and serenity. He focused on his duties, believing that these were the true designs of the gods. For Epictetus, this distinction was synonymous with freedom. Freeing ourselves from external worries grants us a lighter life focused on our true goals. For others, this practice can mean the difference between an overloaded life and a serene, happy life. When life hurts us, it's usually because we're focused on something we can't change. By understanding this, we can free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and live a fuller life. So how can we apply these Stoic teachings to our lives? First, it's important to identify the things that are out of our control and learn not to worry about them. This does not mean resignation or indifference, but a serene acceptance of reality. We must focus our energies on what we can change: our actions, our reactions, our character. Just like Marcus Aurelius, we can learn to distinguish between the past, present, and future, and not allow useless worries to divert us from our path. In the past, we often plagued ourselves with regrets and actions that we can no longer change. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us that the past is beyond our control and that we should learn from it, but not live in it. The present, on the other hand, is the only moment we truly possess. We should focus on living according to our principles and values now, without being distracted by fears or hopes for the future. And as for the future, Marcus Aurelius advises that we should plan and prepare, but we should not let anxiety overwhelm us. After all, the future is uncertain, and trying to control it completely is a futile task. With these timeless lessons, let's delve into his reflections on the past, future, and present. Have you ever stopped to think about how the teachings of ancient philosophers can transform your life? Welcome to our channel, where we delve into the depths of Stoic wisdom, explore millennial knowledge, and bring powerful insights for your personal development. Here you will find exclusive content, with videos that bring teachings from the great Stoic masters, such as Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. These videos are designed to help you apply Stoic principles in your daily life, improving your resilience, tranquility, and mental clarity. Our goal is to provide a true personal transformation. Imagine living with more serenity, even in the face of challenges. You will learn how to better handle adversity and find peace and purpose in the midst of chaos. In addition, our channel offers a vast millennial knowledge. The lessons of the ancient philosophers have spanned centuries and continue to be extremely relevant, helping us to live more fully and consciously. And by signing up, you join a growing community. We are forming a group of people committed to self-development and continuous learning. Here, you won't be alone on your journey. Then click on the Subscribe Now button and activate the bell to receive notifications whenever new videos go live. The past. Marcus Aurelius, the renowned philosopher-emperor, left us a profound lesson about the fleeting nature of human existence. He constantly reminded us of how quickly life passes and dissipates into an infinity beyond our reach. Like the future, the past is a domain over which we have no control. The reality is that the past is gone, and we can't change it unless we somehow invent a time machine. Marcus Aurelius said, "Remember, you live only in the present, in this fleeting moment. Everything else in your life has passed or is yet to be discovered." This quote underscores the importance of living in the now, as life is short and the space we inhabit is narrow. The problems we face arise in the present, but we are often too busy with worries about the past or anxieties about the future, two areas that are out of our reach. Marcus Aurelius claimed that the past no longer means anything and no longer matters today. This is not to say that past events do not influence the present or that we cannot learn from them. However, it is important to recognize that we cannot face the past directly, as it is beyond our capacities for action. Our memories of the past are often muddled and distorted, and the methods we use to determine what exactly happened are limited. We rely on personal perceptions and memories from different perspectives, both our own and those of others. The past, therefore, is inaccessible and untouchable. Our memories may be inaccurate, but we still worry about past events, reliving the pain they caused us. Some people believe that by thinking about the past, they can gain some control over it. However, this is an illusion. What is past is past. All we try to control are our thoughts about events that are gone and will never come back. How many times have we heard people say, "I wish I had done things differently," but these desires are futile, for they are aimed at the impossible. Such thoughts bring no real benefit, they only create desires that we can never satisfy. Marcus Aurelius teaches us not to focus on past events, but rather on our reactions to them. We have no control over events that have already occurred, but we do have control over our response to those events. We may have gone through difficulties, such as a difficult childhood, the end of a friendship, or the failure of a business. But the true importance is not in the events themselves, but in how we deal with them. He said, "Is it a shame that something like this happened? No. Fortunately, something happened and I came back unharmed, not devastated now and unafraid of the future. This can happen to anyone, but not everyone comes out unscathed. Why do you think one is a disaster and the other is not an opportunity? Can something that does not affect human nature really be called a disaster? Or do you think that what does not violate the will of nature can be violated? But you know what you want. What has happened that prevents you from acting with justice, generosity, self-control, common sense, prudence, honesty, humility, open-mindedness, and all the other qualities that nature allows?" Interestingly, Marcus Aurelius did not completely reject the value of the past. He believed that we can learn by observing their rhythms, how things come and go, how they repeat themselves, so that we can extrapolate the future. By understanding the patterns of the past, we can apply this wisdom to live better in the present and prepare more effectively for what lies ahead. This perspective helps us use the past as a learning tool rather than a burden. Therefore, we need to accept the past as immutable and focus on the present, where we have true power of action. By doing so, we free our mind from unnecessary worries and find inner peace. The future. The future is one of the greatest sources of anxiety and worry for the human mind. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wisely said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This quote reflects the human tendency to suffer in advance, creating imaginary scenarios that often never materialize. Our mind, in its relentless search for security, often leads us to explore countless possibilities, many of which are terrifying. We think about the possible consequences. We fear the unknown, and so we suffer in anticipation. When reflecting on the future, it is important to remember that it is a mental construction. Concerns about what is to come are largely figments of our imagination. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not the weight of the future that moves us, but the weight of the present." The future has no real substance outside of our thoughts. It is the way we address these concerns in the present that determines our well-being. Poverty, disease, wars, all these threats of the future only harm us because we live them mentally before they even happen. By allowing these worries to dominate our present, we end up suffering unnecessarily. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine a person who has spent years preparing for retirement, investing time and resources to ensure a comfortable future. However, shortly before retiring, he receives a diagnosis of a terminal illness. All planning and anticipation are instantly eclipsed by a new reality. This example illustrates how the future, with all its uncertainties, can surprise us in unimaginable ways. We can prepare for the better or the worst, but the truth is that the future is unpredictable and out of our control. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, advises us not to allow the future to worry us. He writes, "Never let the future worry you. If necessary, you will face it with the same rational weapons that arm it today." This advice emphasizes the importance of living in the present and using reason to deal with challenges as they arise. When we focus on the present moment, we find the tools we need to face any adversity. The future will be approached with the same skills and resilience that we apply to the present. This Stoic approach is closely linked to the idea of amor fati, the love of fate. Accepting what fate has in store for us without resistance strengthens us. The belief that we can overcome any challenge gives us the courage to face the unknown. When we accept the future with serenity and focus on the present, we find peace and clarity. Instead of worrying about World War III, the loss of money, or any other calamity, we should ask ourselves, what can I do now? Focusing on the present, on what we can control, gives us the ability to live fully. Worrying about the future only prevents us from enjoying the current moment. Stoic philosophy teaches us to embrace the present and to trust in our ability to deal with the future when it becomes present. Therefore, rather than allowing fear of the future to paralyze us, we should remember the words of Marcus Aurelius and Seneca. The future should not worry us more than necessary. We must meet each challenge as it arises, armed with the reason and wisdom gained over time. The future is an extension of the present, and it is in the now that we have the power to shape our lives. Let us always remember, life is lived in the present. Future worries have no real substance except in our minds. By focusing on the present and accepting what lies ahead with serenity and courage, we find true freedom. The present. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor and philosopher, constantly reminds us that the present is all we really have. It guides us to focus on the present moment, as it is the only field of action we can truly access. The past is an endless abyss, and the future is an impenetrable darkness. By focusing on the now, we can find the serenity and clarity needed to cope with life. Even as we let go of the past and worry less about the future, we still encounter a tendency to worry about what is happening now. Often, we are dissatisfied with our present lives. When things don't go as planned, we get frustrated, sad, or angry. Marcus Aurelius, in his wisdom, teaches us that there is no point in worrying about what fate has in store for us. The course of the world around us is not under our control, only our reactions are. When we are faced with situations we don't like, or when something we want doesn't happen, we tend to resist and rebel. Marcus Aurelius compares us to pigs, which scream and struggle when they are taken to slaughter, pointing out that this resistance is futile. We cannot prevent natural events or the desires and actions of others. We don't have the power to prevent natural disasters, to stop aging, or to force the world to fulfill all our desires. Instead of spending time and energy resisting what we cannot change, we should focus on what is within our control. Our choices, actions, and perspectives. Marcus Aurelius considers nature as our teacher. To run away from it or to be sad because of it is simply to waste our energy. We must accept the ways of nature and focus on managing our reactions responsibly. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius writes about accepting the present moment, advising us to focus on what we have rather than what we lack. He exhorts us to treat what we don't have as if it didn't exist and to value the things we have. He says, "Look at what you have, what things are most valuable, and think about how much you would want them if you didn't have them." However, he warns us against complacency and overvaluing things to avoid frustration and disappointment. Accepting reality can be challenging, especially when we face great difficulties. Life often throws us unexpected and hard challenges, but for Marcus Aurelius, these adversities are no excuse to react negatively. Instead, he sees adversity as an opportunity to practice virtue and apply Stoic philosophy. The art of living, according to him, does not depend on the whims and luck of external circumstances, but on how we deal with the events we experience. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on the virtues of reason and citizenship, and to recognize that everything that happens is natural and manageable. Nothing is new or uncontrollable, but rather familiar and within our management capabilities. By adopting this perspective, we find the peace and strength to live according to nature, accepting the present with all its imperfections and challenges. Therefore, as we face the present, we must remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. The present moment is all we have. We must focus on our actions, choices, and perspectives, accepting nature and events as they are. Only in this way can we find true freedom and inner peace, living according to Stoic principles and practicing virtue in every moment of our lives. Do you want to discover the secret to having a happier and more harmonious relationship? In this video I prepared called Unlock the Secrets to a Happier Relationship, Stoicism. I will reveal how Stoic philosophy can transform and save your relationship. Did you know that applying Stoic principles in everyday life can improve communication, increase mutual understanding, and strengthen the bond with your partner? Imagine living in a relationship where peace and harmony are constant, where you and your partner can face life's challenges together with serenity and wisdom. In this video, we will explore how Stoicism can be the key to resolving conflict, dealing with emotions, and cultivating deeper, truer love. Click now, watch the video, and take the first step towards a happier and more harmonious relationship with the wisdom of the great Stoic philosophers. I'll be waiting for you.